haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. All right, so today I want to talk about something geared towards beginner do-it-yourselfers at the house. I know, just like me, I had very little knowledge or anything about doing any of this stuff, but over the years I found the courage and the ability to get out there and try, and I found out that a lot of this stuff isn't really as hard as you think it is. So today I just want to talk about if you're a single lady, as I mentioned, or a single guy, or a married lady, or a married guy. It doesn't matter. If you're an elderly person, if you want to get to the point where you know how to do these kind of basic things on your own, you're going to need basic tools. And I know most of you think hammer, wrenches, screwdrivers, yeah, that's all well and good, but there's just a few basic things that you should have on hand if you're going to attempt to be trying to do things on your own. So definitely almost every household has one of these. Okay, if you don't have a hammer, make sure you get you one, because there's going to always be, whether you're trying to hang a picture or something else in the house, hammers are always good to come in handy. You might be trying to pry something loose, and these are always come in handy. The other thing is a good set of screwdrivers. And what I mean by a good set, you don't have to get the most expensive, but definitely don't get the cheapest. Let me show you something here. So a lot of times if you go into your big box stores or whatever, you'll see they sell a lot of kits like this. Depending on the brand, sometimes these can be a good buy, but a lot of times, depending on the brand, they're garbage. And they have, like, this actually comes with drill bits and things of that nature, but they make these that come with a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, a little hammer. Don't buy those. Those are great for little things around the house, but if you're looking to actually do projects around the house, make sure you spend a little bit of money and buy the individual tools. I don't recommend people buying a kit. Like I said, sometimes you can get a good kit, but you're going to pay for it. So if you see something like this for $15, $20, don't buy it. Just spend the money and buy the individual things to make sure you're actually getting something quality. So if you don't have any pry bars, now you're probably thinking, why the heck would I need a pry bar? Well, you could be trying to tear up a piece of flooring, or you could be trying to pry something that's stuck. Let's say maybe you're trying to move a rock or a paver that is kind of sunken down to the dirt. You need something to dig it up. You can use these pry bars for just about anything. I use mine for a lot of home remodeling stuff, whether it was tearing down old walls or prying nails out. These are great for prying nails, because if you look at them, it has a little nail hook on the end. So what I did was I actually bought a smaller one. It's a little bit easier to use depending on the application I'm using it for. So again, they all come with the little hook, and they all come with the flat end so you can get up underneath stuff. And this little portion here is where you can actually get it around a nail and then pry it up. So get you a couple of good pry bars. So in the beginning, you may not be thinking, but most houses that are manufactured today have drywall in them. Drywall is very easy to use. It's very easy to work with, but a lot of people are intimidated because they've never had to do it. Get yourself a couple of putty knives that are made for drywall. Fairly inexpensive, but they're good to have on hand. Can be used for a lot of different purposes, but I typically use this one for patching small holes around the house. Okay, also get you a good pair of tin snips. A lot of people wonder, like, why would I need that? I'm telling you now, if you're a homeowner, you're going to be amazed at the stuff that you think you'd never need that you're going to need. I use this to cut tin. I use it to cut thin sheets of metal. And there's been several times I've had to use this. I recently put down a kitchen floor, and I was using wire mesh as the subfloor, and I used these to cut through that thin wire mesh, which made it a lot easier. So get you a good pair of tin shears. Another thing that a lot of people overlook is get yourself a level. Now, if you've never used a level, I have a video that kind of describes the basic uses of a level, but if you look closely, you see the little bubble in there. And most people are probably aware, but this is for the extreme novice that has no idea what these are for. So say you're trying to hang a picture, or hang a piece of wall art, and you're trying to get it straight. Well, this will actually help you know where it is as far as it being crooked or straight, because if the bubble is in between the two black lines, that lets you know it's straight. And it also gives you the ability to do it whether you're going on the sides, on the side of, let's say, a picture, or if you're hanging something that kind of has an angle to it, like a 45-degree angle, like this one. And they make them in this size, and they also make them in a little bit larger size, like this one. And they even make them even bigger than this. But for my applications here, this is what I'm using. But the nice thing about this, it actually has a built-in ruler on the side as well. And it can be used as a straight edge if you're trying to draw a straight line. Now, most people don't have a workbench in your house. I didn't have one either. I built this one when I moved in. But these are called wood clamps. These are good for holding things tight, like say you're trying to drill something and it keeps moving around, or you're trying to unscrew something. This is a great tool because it allows you to go up underneath the table and then cinch this thing down and then tighten it up so it doesn't move. I use this thing a lot, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, but they're great for that purpose. Another thing that gets overlooked are vice grips. These things have come in handy. Now, the way these work is it allows you to adjust it on the bottom. If you look closely, you can see the teeth opening, and then you can see the teeth closing. The good thing about these is, like, say you're trying to get something unloosened that's very tight. Let's say a big nut, and you can get these teeth around it. What happens is, if you're trying to use your own strength, it's going to hurt. But the good thing about these is you can adjust the grip, so when you push it down over the nut and you go to squeeze this, you can actually make it where it would squeeze the nut harder than you can physically, which will allow you to be able to turn that nut. And the nice thing about it is they all come with this little release here that helps the release the tension once you're done. Again, if you don't have a set of these, they're called vice grips. They come in different sizes as well. They come in, I have a small set for little nuts and screws, and I also have bigger ones than this. So again, invest in a decent pair of vice grips. Now, most people, I know I used to be this way, intimidated by doing any kind of wiring. Now, I'm not saying that you should do any wiring or even attempt it unless you know what you're doing or if you're a professional. But get you a good set of wire cutters and shears. This allows you to shear off the end of the wire, like say you're trying to wire an outlet or anything of that nature. But these come in handy, so get yourself a good pair of wire strippers and cutters. The infamous hacksaw. Again, I'm not assuming that everybody watching this video knows exactly what these tools are, because a lot of people don't, and that's what this video is more geared towards. This is a hacksaw. This is can be used to cut wood. It can be used to cut metal. Typically, it was used to cut metal, but these are good to have as far as it allows you to get in certain areas, and it actually cuts very quickly, and they're very easy to set up. On this particular saw, and they're all made this way, they have little hooks that hook there and here, and then you adjust this in order to put the new blade in. So if you need to change your blade out, very easy to replace the blade. So get you a good hacksaw. Now, this is something that I use because I don't do a lot of woodwork, but there are times where these have come in handy. These are called wood chisels, and they need to be sharpened actually, but they come in different sizes as well. And the reason I'm recommending that you get a good set of these, or even a reasonably priced set of these, is I have used these a lot. I recently was having an issue with one of the bedroom doors not closing and locking properly. The previous homeowner had done something with the lock, so I ended up having to use a chisel to chisel out the little area where the lock mechanism or the doorstop portion goes in the door jamb there, so I can reset it. So I had to trim out some of the wood, and this came in perfect. So again, get yourself a good set of these. Now, those of you that are a little bit intimidated by electrical wiring, this is a very inexpensive tool that you can get. Like, say for example, you're having issues with an outlet, or it's not working correctly, or you're blowing fuses. One thing I've learned from buying houses is that a lot of people will do a lot of shady stuff. I don't know how they pass inspection, but once they do these things, what ends up happening is you end up getting stuck with these issues. You could have a fire that could start or something like that. This particular device here, if you look at it closely, it actually shows you, let me make sure I got it upside right. It actually shows you, once you plug it into a ground fault outlet, it will actually show you if the outlet is wired correctly by the little lights. So depending on how the lights light up, you'll know whether or not immediately if that outlet is wired incorrectly. Again, very inexpensive, and they've come in handy quite a bit. I would also recommend getting you a good set of wrenches. A lot of people take for granted, they buy these cheap wrenches, and as soon as they go to try to turn something, they strip the inside or they strip it here. Not saying that that still can't happen, but again, invest in a good set of wrenches, from small, and you can go up to as large as you want to buy. Now this here is called a crescent wrench. These come in a lot of different sizes too. They come in this size, and they come with very large heads. Again, these are used a lot in plumbing and other applications. A lot of mechanics use it. But get you a good set of crescent wrenches to have around the house, because you will need them. Get you a set of pliers that are like these. This is by a brand called Cobalt. I'm by no means promoting Cobalt. It was just a mid-range set that I saw and I needed, but these are great because they're adjustable wrenches here. So if you need to get a nut that's that big, or you need to go down to this size and get something a little bit smaller, these work great as well. Like I said, I have probably 4 or 5 different sizes, and I recommend everybody to get you a good set of these pliers. Another type of wrench that you can get is these. These are actually, those of you that are familiar with ratchets, this is a ratchet wrench. So in other words, I don't know if you can hear it, but it actually turns, but it's like a ratchet. They come in all different sizes. I bought a set of these, and they come in handy when you're trying to get into tight spaces, and they also bend. So if you need to get into a certain area, it's a lot easier to do so. So something else, you don't have to have these, but they're a little more fancier, but they're nice to have because they've come in handy and saved me quite a bit. So now I want to talk a little bit about power tools. So one thing I will recommend, if you don't have any already, most people that are novices or beginners, they typically will buy a battery powered drill. But what they tend to buy is they buy these cheap Craftsman. Well, Craftsman has actually gotten better. I'm sorry, not Craftsman. Skill, S-K-I-L. Don't buy that brand. And this is nothing against that brand, but every experience I've had with that brand, the motors burn up quick, and I've had bad experiences. So I particularly like DeWalt. This is a brand, but there's plenty of them. There's Ryobi, there's Milwaukee, there's a lot of different brands out there, but this is what I recommend. I recommend that you get your good 20-volt drill. I also recommend, I learned this the hard way, these battery packs come in 2 different sizes. They have the one that's about half the size of this, and they have these big ones. These actually give you a longer lasting battery life, and what you'll notice if you're using this a lot, it doesn't take long to drain this battery, especially if you're using like a saw or one of the battery powered saws. You will drain it fast. So spend the extra bucks and invest in the larger battery packs. But definitely get you a good battery powered drill. I also recommend getting you a good battery powered skill saw or circular saw. These come in handy for a lot of applications as well. Again, they all come with a manual, so if you're a little intimidated by power tools, which you should be, not intimidated, but you should respect them, because these tools can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. And you notice here, I also have another battery pack that I use, because this particular saw, if you're cutting through something, after several cuts, this thing dies, especially if it's having a hard time cutting through, like if you need a new blade or whatever. Yeah, these batteries will die fairly quickly, even the bigger ones. So definitely get your drill, get you a skill saw like I just showed you. And one thing I did was, I actually have not only battery powered, but I have a drill that has a cord, and I have a skill saw that has a cord. And the reason being is sometimes you're in situations where you need the power. You don't want to deal with the battery dying. The battery powered ones are great, you know, for a lot of applications. But sometimes you want that extra power, especially when it comes to the drill. I notice for me, I love having the battery powered drill if I'm trying to drill through studs or thick wood. I remember I was using a hole saw, which was about that big around, and I was trying to cut through a 2x4 because I needed to run some plumbing through it. And I'm cutting through it, and my battery one died about halfway through. So the nice thing about that was having the corded one where I was able to put the bit on the end and finish getting through without having any delays. The one thing I will mention, and I mentioned this in another video, is with the drills that have the drills that have the cord, please be careful because there's so much power there. There's so much power because of the electrical power. The drill will flip and it will turn. And I had that happen to me once where it almost broke my wrist. And my hand got stuck in this position, and I literally had to call my wife and ask her to unplug the drill because my hands were caught up. So again, learning experience for me, but respect the power. And if you're going to buy a corded one, I recommend it, but just be mindful of that one little caveat right there. Another tool that I recommend every house to have, this has come in handy. This is called an oscillating tool. They come with these detachable blades that are easy to remove. Blades just pop right out. Push this down, and the cool thing about these is you can put them in whatever position you want to put them in. These have come in handy. I've used these to fix drywall, to cut small pieces of plastic, to trim pieces of wood. These are amazing. So this is one tool I recommend that you have in your toolbox if you don't have one. It's called an oscillating tool. Get you a good set of drill bits. Drill bits come in all different shapes and sizes. You see here's my set of drill bits, but you have bits with blades this big, like if you're cutting a hole through a 2x4. Same with this one. This one actually has a little screw head on the end of it to kind of get it to grab that wood. And there's all different kinds of sizes in here that you may need. So again, invest in a good set of drill bits. And this is just one type of drill bits. These are more for precision wood drilling, but you have your standard drill bit. I don't think I need to show you all what a standard drill bit looks like. But anyway, invest in a good set of drill bits. And finally, invest in a good set of ratchet tools. This was not cheap, but it wasn't extremely expensive. But the nice thing about it, again, it's my favorite brand, DeWalt. But it comes with pretty much every bit that you would need. Now, I'm not saying as a beginner you need to get something like this, but this comes in handy for me because I do work on my farm equipment, I do work on my mowers, all of my small engines, whether it's weed whackers, blower motors, my car. So this has come in handy. And again, they have ratchets that are even bigger than this, but for my purposes, this works out great. I know it's a good set because it's made by DeWalt, and it has pretty much every size that I need. This kit even comes with a set of Allen wrenches as well. If you're not familiar with Allen wrenches, these are called Allen wrenches, and you'll find a lot of applications for these around the house. The good thing about Allen wrenches is a lot of things that you buy that will need an Allen wrench typically comes with the wrench, but there will be times where you may need to have a set of these on hand. So one other thing that you can invest in is a good set of Allen wrenches as well. So that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or if I left out any tools that you think might be a good addition to somebody who's a novice beginner, that just say somebody just bought a house and they have no idea what they need to buy. Like I said, most people will buy the hammer, the screwdrivers, and the pliers. That's great, but again, there's a lot more things that you'll need, especially if you're going to be the type of person that's going to learn how to do a lot of this stuff on yourself. And just like there's video, there's tons of other videos online that will show you how to do a lot of this stuff. And it's really not as hard as you think it is. So be brave, get out there, try some things, be careful. And again, for me, I'm not a professional. I've just been doing this for a lot of years and I'm very comfortable doing it. So make sure you like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.